Before the Bradys, before blended family sitcoms ruled the airwaves, My Three Sons quietly became one of America's favorite TV living rooms. From Fred MacMurray's warm, fatherly presence to the young kids who grew up right before millions of viewers, this long-running classic captured a changing America with real warmth and humor, and heartbreak hiding just under the surface. But 66 years after its big debut, where did the cast go when the cameras finally stopped? Some found lasting success, some walked away from fame, and others left behind stories far more emotional than fans ever imagined. Fred MacMurray played Steve Douglas and, in a strange family echo, Fergus Douglas on My Three Sons. He made quiet authority feel warm, turning Steve into the steady anchor of a loud, changing household. Born August 30th, 1908 in Kankakee, Illinois, he grew up in Wisconsin, played sax in dance bands, and moved from music into stage and film. He was 52 when the show premiered back in 1960. For a huge movie star famous for Double Indemnity and Disney comedies, weekly TV was a risk, but it earned him a deep public trust. The gig also let him keep a much slower working pace while turning TV fatherhood into his final signature role. Behind that gentle screen image was a massive career of over 100 films, plus smart real estate and ranch investments. His final years were deeply private, marked by cancer, a severe stroke, and a quiet exit from the industry he helped build. He died of pneumonia after a long battle with cancer on November 5, 1991, at age 83. Stanley Livingston played young Chip Douglas on My Three Sons. Chip was the mischievous little brother, small in size but absolutely central to the show's spirit of boyhood. Born November 24, 1950 in Los Angeles, California, Stanley Bernard Livingston got his start as a kid actor before the hit sitcom made him famous. He was 10 when he began the show in 1960. The role put his entire childhood under bright studio lights, forcing him to grow up on television while keeping Chip totally believable. It also gave him rare job security. He and Fred MacMurray stayed for the entire run. That fame was both a gift and a heavy burden. It locked him forever in the minds of viewers as Chip, but it also opened doors for a long life in show business. After the series, he kept acting before moving behind the scenes as a producer, director, and editor, building a solid second career. With so many of his old co-stars now gone, he is the last surviving original cast member, living in 2026 at age 75. Next up, Don Grady played Robbie Douglas on My Three Sons. Robbie brought real music, charm, and a bit of teenage restlessness to the Douglas household, growing up faster than the rest. Born June 8, 1944 in San Diego as Don Louis Agrati, he started early as a singer and dancer on the Mickey Mouse Club. He was 16 when the series began in 1960. The role hit just as he transitioned from child star into young adulthood. A tough transition played out on television every single week. It gave him fame, but pushed him to prove he was more than a TV character. That proof came through his music. He played with the Yellow Balloon, released solo albums, and composed music for film and television. He also wrote music for The Phil Donahue Show and the big Las Vegas show EFX. He looked up to Fred MacMurray and the show's producers as father figures during some pretty tough years, which gave the series a deeply personal meaning. He died of cancer on June 27, 2012 at age 68. Barry Livingston played Ernie Thompson Douglas, starting out simply as Ernie Thompson, complete with thick glasses, a nervous energy, and a wonderful comic spark. Ernie made the whole on-screen family feel much more real. Born December 17, 1953 in Los Angeles, Barry Gordon Livingston was Stanley's actual younger brother, entering show business as a kid. He was 10 when he joined the cast in 1963. The role turned what Hollywood usually saw as a visual drawback into his personal signature, making those glasses part of Ernie's charm. It actually helped him survive child stardom by giving him a character built on realness, not Hollywood polish. His later years brought sweet vindication. After getting fired from an early movie role just for needing glasses, he built a massive career spanning theater, television, and cinema. He made his Broadway debut, played Linus on stage, wrote a memoir, and kept booking roles in Zodiac, The Social Network, Argo, Mad Men, and Bosch. Today, in 2026, he is 72, turning 73 this coming December 17th. William Demarest played Uncle Charlie O'Casey on My Three Sons. Charlie was gruff, loyal, and incredibly funny in a rugged way, giving the Douglas household a tough but tender heartbeat. A real icon. Born February 27, 1892, in St. Paul, Minnesota, Carl William Demarest grew up in New Jersey, served in World War I, and did vaudeville before movies. He was 73 when he joined the series in 1965. Stepping in after William Frawley left, Demarest faced the huge pressure of replacing a beloved star. Without throwing off the family rhythm, he did it by turning grumpiness into comfort, making Charlie feel like he belonged. His final years carried the weight of a long Hollywood journey. He starred with Al Jolson in The Jazz Singer, worked in classic Preston Sturges comedies, and grabbed an Oscar nomination for The Jolson Story. With over 140 movies and late-life television fame, he died on December 28, 1983 at 91. Tim Considine played Mike Douglas on My Three Sons. As the oldest, most responsible boy, Mike carried the quiet gravity of someone nearly grown. Born December 31st, 1940 in Los Angeles, California, he came from a movie family and was already a Disney star in Spin and Marty. He was 20 when the show started in 1960. That role put him at the heart of a hit television family, but he was already outgrowing the limits of teen stardom. Leaving after the 1964 to 1965 season was a tough break. Still, it proved he wanted a life bigger than just one character. In the years after, Considine acted in Patton, became a writer, photographer, and car historian, while keeping a quiet distance from the role that made him famous. His later life showed he was a man who survived early fame by building a quiet world outside of it. He passed away on March 3, 2022 at 81. William Frawley played Michael Francis "Bub" O'Casey, known simply as Bub, on My Three Sons. Bub was gruff, funny, and real, giving the boys a tough kind of tenderness. Born February 26, 1887 in Burlington, Iowa, he started in church choirs, local stage plays, and vaudeville before becoming one of television's most recognizable character actors. He was 73 when the series kicked off in 1960. Stepping into this role after I Love Lucy gave him a huge second act, but it came at a time when the physical toll was high and the schedule relentless. His presence made those early seasons feel lived in, like that old house had a real history before the cameras even rolled. Frawley's career spanned vaudeville and Broadway all the way to Miracle on 34th Street and the legendary Fred Mertz, but failing health eventually forced him off My Three Sons before the family saga could wrap up. He stayed a favorite among cast members who knew the history he brought to the set. He died of a heart attack on March 3, 1966 at 79. Tina Cole played Katie Miller Douglas, first introduced as Katie Miller, on My Three Sons. Katie brought a fresh grace, warmth, and maturity to the household, turning Robbie's romance into a major new storyline. And then, born August 4, 1943 in Hollywood, California, Christina Yvonne Cole was the daughter of musician Buddy Cole and singer Yvonne King. She was only 21 when she joined the show in 1964. Before landing the role of Katie, she did guest spots, finding her footing before stepping into the main spotlight. Once Katie married Robbie, she transformed from a regular working actress into a staple of a beloved television home. Her career stayed close to showbiz but expanded. She sang with the Four King Cousins, did stage work, coached, and eventually returned to acting. In 2022, she released her memoir, My Three Lives, capturing her musical family, television stardom, and surviving change. She is still with us in 2026 at 82. Beverly Garland played Barbara Harper Douglas, first known as Barbara Harper, on My Three Sons. Barbara came in quietly, giving Steve Douglas another shot at love and bringing fresh warmth to the show. Born October 17, 1926 in Santa Cruz, California, Beverly Lucy Fessenden studied theater and built her career on stage before movies and television. She was 43 when she joined the series in 1969. Joining a massive hit so late was tough since viewers already saw the Douglas household as complete. But Garland made Barbara feel essential, not just decorative, bringing maturity, stability, and a widowed mother's quiet strength. Her life was defined by range and deep resilience. She starred in the groundbreaking cop show Decoy and became a cult hit in 1950s genre movies before finding new fans on Scarecrow and Mrs. King and Seventh Heaven. Off camera, she ran the famous North Hollywood hotel that carried her name. Following a long illness, she passed away on December 5, 2008 at 82. Dawn Lynn played Dodie Harper Douglas, originally Dodie Harper on My Three Sons. She was small, bright, and incredibly disarming. This little kid made the Douglas family feel whole again. She was born January 11, 1963, right in Los Angeles, California. Little Dawn Lynn Nervick was actor Leif Garrett's younger sister, starting out in showbiz early. She was only 6 when she joined the cast in 1969. Joining a massive established show at that age is tough. You have to be charming without looking like you are trying too hard. That role made her the instantly recognizable face of the show's later years. Even though her acting days ended before adulthood, Lynn chose to step away from Hollywood. But the spotlight found her again during a brutal health crisis in 2022, following brain tumor surgery. Then came bacterial meningitis. Updates showed her recovering and making a rare public appearance, a real survival story, not just old TV nostalgia. Today, she is 63 years old. Meredith McRae stepped in as Sally Ann Morrison, who later became Sally Ann Morrison Douglas. Sally was poised, smart, and romantic, the young woman who gave Mike Douglas a glimpse of life outside the family home. Born May 30th, 1944 in Houston. She was the daughter of stars Gordon and Sheila McRae, growing up right in the industry. She was 19 when she joined the show in 1963. She was still trying to step out from her family's shadow. The role demanded a sweet, mature presence, a tough balance to strike. But it gave her a major television breakthrough before she moved on to play Billy Joe Bradley on Petticoat Junction. Her later life brought reinvention and pain. She worked as a singer and a talk show host. Then, after months of worrying symptoms and intense treatments, she faced a devastating brain cancer diagnosis. She passed away from brain cancer complications on July 14, 2000, at age 56. John Howard played Dave Welch and Buddy Albert. He brought the quiet, steady authority of an old studio-era actor stepping into a changing television world. Born John Richard Cox Jr. on April 14, 1913, in Cleveland, Ohio. He was a Phi Beta Kappa graduate of Western Reserve University before Paramount handed him his new screen name. He was 51 when he started on the show in 1964. No longer the young leading man of the 1930s, TV gave him a different way to survive. Those guest roles kept him in the public eye, proving how beautifully classic Hollywood actors could adapt. His real-life story was full of grit and courage. He starred in classic hits like Lost Horizon, The Philadelphia Story, and the Bulldog Drummond movies, before serving in the Navy during World War II and earning the Navy Cross. Quite a life. He eventually got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a permanent mark of his legacy. He passed away from heart failure on February 19, 1995, at 81. John Gallaudet played both Bob Anderson and Mr. Fife on My Three Sons. He brought a very grounded, familiar vibe to the set, the exact kind of face that made a sitcom feel real. Born August 23, 1903 in Philadelphia, John Barry Gallaudet attended Williams College before starting on Broadway. He was 57 when his first episodes aired in 1960. It was late in his career, meaning even his smallest appearances had to be incredibly sharp to make an impact. Gallaudet brought that precise skill from decades of stage and studio work. He turned tiny roles into lasting impressions, showing the quiet endurance of a true craftsman. Signed by Columbia Pictures back in the 1930s, he ended up appearing in dozens of films. He kept busy on television, earning credits in major projects like Side Street and In Cold Blood. He did not leave behind the massive fame of a Hollywood leading man, but he left proof of an actor who survived. He passed away on November 5, 1983, at age 80. Olive Dunbar played Ruth Fife on the show. Ruth was the quiet neighborhood mom, a minor role that helped shape Chip's world outside of the Douglas house. Born March 30, 1925 in Wellesley Hills, Massachusetts. Olive Joan Dunbar was the daughter of Harry C. Dunbar and Geneva Teague Dunbar, choosing an acting career early on. She was 36 when she joined the series in 1961. It placed her with the other adults in a kid-centered sitcom, where a gentle screen presence mattered way more than showy acting. It gave her steady television work during an era when character actresses built their entire careers one small role at a time. Dunbar's later roles proved her impressive range. She starred in the famous short film The Lottery, worked all over TV, and became a familiar face to viewers who loved family dramas and quirky screen projects. Behind the scenes, she was married to actor William Keane until he passed in 1992. She later died on February 8, 2017, at 91. Over on My Three Sons, Joan Vos played Jan Deering and Miss Terry. Her elegant presence brought real warmth to her recurring roles in the Douglas family circle. She was born July 30, 1927, in Queens, New York. Before acting, Eleanor Joan Vos danced with the Rockettes, worked with Agnes DeMille, and became a successful Conover model. She was 37 when she first joined the show in 1964. By that point, she had survived the shift from old studio glamour to guest star television, a change that valued flexibility over fame. The show kept her anchored in wholesome family television after years in film, but her path soon shifted from bright promise to a quiet, private life. She landed parts in Sabrina, Crazy Legs, and 4T, along with Perry Mason, before walking away from acting in the late 1960s. Reruns kept her face frozen in time, reminding us of the people who built early TV. She died of heart failure on June 4, 2001, at 73. Running for 12 seasons, My Three Sons left behind much more than just a picture of a cozy American home. Fred MacMurray, William Frawley, William Demarest, Don Grady, and Tim Considine. Meredith McRae and Beverly Garland have passed on, while Stanley and Barry Livingston carried that childhood legacy into their later careers. Fame brought them plenty of warmth, but time eventually took its toll through sickness, change, and loss. Which face from the Douglas home do you remember most? The house is empty now, but those memories still linger.